It's time for the playoffs here between Evil Geniuses Black and the Timbermen. Boggs and Pineapple Phillips on the call. Timbermen on their map pick starting on the T side. EG ready to receive with Rush playing a retake A setup. It's very dangerous. Timbermen love to swarm, and if Rush goes down early, that could spell disaster for EG on round number 1. Nate, it's going to be interesting, but Timbermen are taking their sweet time to line this up.
Waiting for their fifth to come through. In the back, let's have a smoke and a flash. Smoke gets thrown over towards jungle, and out comes the play. Rush, no clean headshot on the crossing. That's important. Without that kill, he'll have to fall away. EG, though, they're rather quick on the rotate. 3 already stacked, a 4th coming in behind as well. It's going to be a very fast pop, potentially out towards A from the CTs in response. Plant is finally going down, but they'll actually just try to walk their way in to start things off. Dare is the one to find the opening. Georgia could trade hit for tat. A second as well, jumping up for him. He's already off to a hot start. Exactly what you want to see if you're an EG fan. And they will continue for Droid. A nice flank, though. Very poignant flank coming in from the window. That is a big one to find a tied up. The issue is the defense is being stuck. It's coming through, and it is indeed found as well. Rush, the last one alive, finds Frankie in the dying embers of the round, and EG steal away a pistol round by virtue of a ninja.
It took the ninja, but George creates the opportunity with those headshots. The first 2 give him a man advantage, allow them to get back onto the site, and that third one keeps Rush alive as he was getting tagged down very low. So George is a bit of a hero play. Rush just having the kit and the smoke does exactly what that setup's for. Upgrades to an A1S now and is going to hit the cat jump, go up to cat. It's a force buy from Timbermen. They don't always force Nate, so it's interesting to see them go for the full force. Junior with a nice start. Rush comes up with another. Flashes over the bomb, drops forward and into the vision of Evil Geniuses. Droid, Snav, and Frankie, the last 3 alive, with 1 lurking out towards underpass and apartments. Snav already tagged as well, and now Rush boosted onto bricks. This is just a collapse of a round for the Timbermen, who have no ammunition, no utility, and now they have no Snav. The trade was far too little too late. Walko falling, though. Now there's a window of opportunity. Junior low as well. Droid a 1-shot. But there is room to maneuver, and the bomb in the possession of the Timbermen with plenty of time to work.
Still a deficit situation, but Junior is effectively a glass cannon at this stage. 14 HP to his name, a scout in hand. But with his aim, you can never count him out. Timbermen, they've decided to walk over towards B. Are they splitting up? Yes, they are. One's going palace, one's going ramp. This could spell disaster, but at the same time, in the same vein, it is a relatively smart call because George is lurking in the halls. He's playing retake towards A. He wins the duel, unfortunately. Frankie doesn't clear the angle with the due diligence he should have, And that leaves just Droid, the lurking individual. Hot start as well for Timbermen, might I add. He has 4 kills to his name, but a 1 versus 3 with 18 HP is too tall a task. That's for certain. George.
Yeah, George is going to cross, too. He's got the easy headshot. And that's the George we want to see, too, isn't it? That duel in App or Palace, winning that fine, and then the play around the ring around the rosy against Droid, reading it well.
No bomb plant. It's pretty important. In the same vein, Timbermen did do at least a little bit of damage. One of those M4s was not recovered. That was rushes towards the catwalk. EG still don't allow Timbermen to buck the trend. Second on the board. And at this point, they're looking to harvest some cash. The scout again towards middle for Junior, jumping up. Doesn't get the shot this time around, but it won't be punished either. Gotta be very careful, especially with those deagles in hand. There's 3 of them for this T side, and a P250 and Tech 9 for good measure. The issue is the complete lack of utility. Means that they're going to have to burst out and use their numbers in a very bloody battle if they want to have any success.
No armor either for Timbermen. It's going to come down to some quick headshots with the deagles, which we know they're very capable of. Going to be a good round to see Dare show up. Droid, of course, has been solid. Snav slipped the gap, and Junior gets caught. Although that's just a scout. It's probably not going to be all too useful. 50-50 back in hand. George multiple angles.
Oh.
Snav with another dastardly shot. Down goes George, and now it's an M4 into the possession of the Timbermen. Rush all the way down ramp, fights for the bomb, but now he's stuck in a pincer, drops a smoke on his backside to try and come back. Walko doubles down, and the bomb now crossing in towards Rush's angle. Will he turn around? Will he catch them off? As it's a split here, 1 through App or Palace, 1 through under, and 1 all the way still back towards B. Rush has the right read onto Shane. He's waiting for the cross. No shadow will show, as Shane should take this one close to the wall. Rush, he needs to win this fight. He has all the advantages. He spots the shoulder. He's got the bomb. That should secure the round for EG, barring anything overextension-wise. Droid getting picked off. He said it should be a Rush. Rush should not be fighting that.
Shouldn't be losing it either, and he definitely doesn't, thankfully. 2 rifles recovered for Walco and Hext. Well done. Secure their 3rd in a row. Still some worrying signs already, though. Snav getting all the way through window, finding 1 sure that surprise factor is good. 2nd, definitely not, and we're just going to take a look back here. That pistol round, the 2nd kill coming in from George. That was disgusting. I didn't realize he caught the player jumping back. That's crazy. Extra for good measure. Droid, he's been off to a pretty solid start as well thus far. Droid is a dedicated, absolutely dedicated lurking player, and sometimes his lurks feel mistimed and disjointed. If they can be as on time and as perfect as they were in that pistol round throughout this series, then Timbermen stand a very solid chance of taking their map pick of Mirage.
But look what Junior has in his hands. He's got the big green, the zoom banger, and he might not have the vision, but he still has the kill. George has the double swing with Hext up on Catwalk. Shane goes down as well, but Snav is going to dome Rush. The AK, of course, the one-shot headshot machine. And over towards apartments, Frankie's got an angle. George will actually just go back towards middle. I believe they've seen the bomb. So they're just going to go take control of that. 3 players of 4 from EG taking control of mid. Bomb has been recovered. They push in. Walco 1, but Snav has both. Hext and Walco fall, and it's about equivalent HP across these remaining players from both sides. The op for Junior, though, does hamper a retake situation, putting a lot of pressure on George. At the very least, they'll know it's going to be B as Junior's going to clear through the ramp. George should be ready for this. What is he just sitting in ladder room? I think he is. Waiting for a cat play.
Seems like he's waiting for Frankie. Remember, he got that spot earlier in the round on the player towards the apartments. Nav is going to use that nade to cross and seal his movements. EG, what do they do in this retake, or do they go for it? That's the question. George is falling back towards the middle. He's going to grab an AK potentially. Junior as well is going to group up. Looks like they're going to go Catwalk in unison together as a squad. They do have kits. They don't have a smoke. These players aren't playing retake either. They're playing the site proper. Back site is the first low on HP Snav. 2nd player just tucked in the corner. It's a very solid setup for Timbermen going into this retake. Top angle so good. There we go. That should have been a gimme kill, and it was. Frankie finds the headshot. And Junior, he wasn't even committing. He was hoping for someone to swing off contact, but his gamble will not be paid out. It's going to be a round on the board for Timbermen. Junior, though, he gets to bring his big green into the following.
He does get the opening, but it's that overextension from EG up top middle that really costs them. They get the double advantage in this push. That push levels it up pretty much even. And of course, George has to try something. He peeks in. He's not going to win that 9 times out of 10. Good hold with Frankie. Good little E-box crossfire setup between the two. And Frankie kind of just sat there the whole time. He got control of B and then just sat E-box, just waiting for somebody to come his direction. Dara now has an op at hand, and he's going to let one shot rip. Walco is in towards the window. George on a 5-7, nothing else. As EG's money is pretty bad. Not quite squalor, as they have rifles and a kit and an okay amount of utilities. Not great. No Molotovs left. And there's still a minute 23 to go, or a minute 28 to go. But overall, if they lose this round and don't save a gun, Timbermen should have a free reign to tie this up at 3 apiece. And that's where their T-side can really start to take control.
Yeah, this is a very important round for EG. George up close with the 5-7 could do some damage over towards the ramp. I think the main point of contact here to start things out is going to be Catwalk. Junior's holding with the op. Shane, though, will cross underneath Walco. Timing's everything. Has to hold a lot of angles, and in the meanwhile, Droid holding for the ramp push, drops Rush. That is a big opening to find. Keep in mind that Galil is a one-shot headshot against everybody except for Junior, so it's effectively an AK in this one. Does indeed hit its mark on the first. Snap now. Enabled by that, going to press forward. Doesn't clear the corner well enough, though. Walco set up for maybe a double or more. Instead is 1-for-1. George, though, the hero. We said he had to show up big for his team if EG want this map, and he'll find a double. The op of Junior as well chimes in. It leaves just Droid the lurk towards ramp, and, well, he has no legs to stand on. He'll find one by virtue of the flames, but nothing more beyond that.
Great work from George picking up the M4 drop by Rush, putting in some work. 8-4, top of the scoreboard. Should be buying up here. Famas on the ground, maybe for him. Definitely for him, given how much he's invested into this round. But more importantly, Timbermen are left on nothing. Just Deagles, a couple of vests, and a Glock for Shane. This is a round where EG need to stabilize their economy, need to keep it clean, which has been something they have struggled with so far this half. They have not had a clean victory at all, and that will definitely hurt them as we get into the middle portions of this half, and as the CT side starts to get into that rut where they just can't keep consistently buying up. The Deagles can always do the damage. And Droid's going to look for it onto Junior. Misses the shot, gets a tag. Hexed has Dare in the meantime. But Junior living a right as he dodges death.
Very lucky there. Jumped up, his head was blocked by the tip of the ticket booth, if I'm not mistaken. Very lucky there. Rush will find a second. Snav taken down. No window shenanigans this time around. Frankie, though, the third at bat will connect, dropping the op of Junior. Is it recoverable? No, of course not. It's all the way back towards CT spawn, but damage is damage. Alco will probably make his way over there and grab that op eventually, but as it stands, they need to just stem the bleeding. Losing one is okay, but keep it at just one. Don't let a second fall. That will really do some lasting damage to this economy.
George just waiting ticket, most likely playing off the sound cues from anyone dropping, has a little bit of support from Rush towards Stairs and Khan. Droid looking for the head, but George tucks down. Shane takes a little bit of damage. Droid has crossed, good flash in. George the first peek, Rush swings out. George the last man to try and shut down Droid, and he will do just that. Only one casualty, op picked back up, only at the cost of a FAMAS. Not terrible for EG, not as clean as they would like, but they still keep the op. They get a little bit of money to build up here. But Walko is limited to an MP9 in this round. He'll probably play something close, maybe even go for an aggressive palace play. Get a flash in, could even go for a mid play. Lots of options there for good old Walko. The Timbermen back on a bye, need a little more support, and they need Dare. They need Dare to step up to the plate and start hitting some dingers right now. He's only got one kill. It is not enough for their star man.
No. The stars of EG are already waking up. George is at 10 kills. Junior has done his part at 3 on the op. Timbermen need their star to wake up if they want to have a chance in this one. Here he does have another chance with the op, and it's going to be a set play for Timbermen, just straight out towards B. Utility lined up, Walko on the catwalk with only an MP9, has a lot to do, especially with his teammate falling by Frankie's hand. Shane finds the second clean entry. It's 2 for the price of none, make it 3. Dare does come alive, dropping the star of George. And as you can tell, EG shut out of the round effectively, already calling it quits. It is the call they have to make in a 2 versus 5. Question is, will Timbermen allow them to save the op? I would have to guess they do. I think it's very important for Timbermen to stabilize their T economy. A flawless victory here would be big. And yet, in the same vein, dropping those rifles, knowing that EG's economy is built on a house of cards, is also an equally viable strategy.
The fact that Dare's the one hunting, though, is incredibly risky. He gets lucky, gets a backstab onto Rush, which means that Junior has a much more difficult task to stay alive through this situation. Bomb will go tick, tick, boom, and Timbermen will notch their second on the board. Junior will not get pressured, so he will keep his gun, but will EG buy around him is a better question, because look at their lack of money. 5-2 the scoreline, but they have nothing after losing one round. It's going to be a half buy around the op, surely. And Rush can buy the op for Junior again in the next round. They're going to rely on the big green to do all the damage here. And I'm assuming Junior's going to go for the cat jump again. Failed it in the last round. Fails the quick jump there as well. No, he's just going to sit in the window and scope in the old-fashioned way now with a boost into ladder room. A fast B blitz from the Timbermen against potential pistol stacks. This is a risky call, but it worked well last round. Might as well try it again.
They're going to get into the site for more or less free. Walko is finally rotated in, but Timbermen stop on a dime. They wait for the utility to come through, and now they pounce in. Player on site, Walco does get a dink. Honestly, I'm quite surprised. I thought he would have found nothing. Up. One of the smokes as they fade will not strike. It will miss its mark. And Junior should try to get the heck out of dodge at this point. Try to save that up. You can guess timbermen are likely already trying to hunt it down. EG posturing for exit kills. Keep in mind, they don't want to just run into the meat grinder. They want to stay alive as long as possible to dissuade any sort of hunt or the op. Want to stay alive and support Junior as much as possible, and potentially also find some kills onto some migrating players, like exactly that. Droid in the apartment's taken down, and now Hex is going to very scarily, I don't want to say scarily, but touch and go, try to challenge for that rifle.
Oh, it's been thrown back by Timbermen. They're going to get all stuck in apartments. Spam a kill and make it 2. Not bad damage at all. There could have been so much more, too, for EG. At the very least, they thinned that economy out a little bit as Timbermen cut the gap to 2 rounds. Junior, can they have that op again? Walco getting that dink off is pretty solid. This missed shot from Dare, though, that's an uncharacteristic miss from him. And the spam damage plus the bomb.
Frankie was that player on the right in the smoke. He was one shot away from death at 7 HP. He is so lucky he did not also go down with that spam. That was crazy. Either way, kind of an even buy for both teams. Rifles across the board, and the ops for the respective stars in Dare and Junior. We would love to see Junior really get off to a heater. We talked about how he's potentially one of the best operators in ECL, and while he has done his job thus far, he's not been that shining star. Granted, I think it's been more so his positioning than anything. Timbermen have been rather averse to going towards middle. They don't really want to challenge there. So they want to slow things down and look elsewhere.
Can't say I blame him. I can't say I'd want to challenge mid against Junior either. So I think Timbermen's made the right call, and they're going to edge away from the B site, which has proven their best success in the past couple of rounds. Look back towards A, leaving Frankie as the lurk. It's not Droid this time. Instead, they're utilizing Droid as more of a fragging entry power, which I think utilizes Droid's return to form very well. But Timbermen just waiting, biding their time, looking for the correct moment to strike. Now the pop comes through. George prepping for that, drops the smoke. Rush will actually fight his way out for one, but burns alive. They know George is somewhere on site, and they mow him down for free. Snap with both, but Walco trades. That's Droid gone, 3v3. Walco's faded back in towards the CT rotation. X stuck in the middle, caught off by Frankie. That's going to spell disaster for EG as Walco and Junior now with a very difficult decision. Do they go? Do they try it? They have a molly. They can molly the firebox player out. That's exactly what's going to happen. Junior will win that fight against Dare, but there's still 2 more to come up with. Frankie out middle. They know where he is. They don't know where Snav is, but Junior has the next. Now it's just a matter of holding, but Snav has the angle. Junior up a creek without a paddle, trying to fight this one out. Has to swap to the pistol or an AK, but he goes on the op and he still wins the jiggle. He's got time. An early peek from Snav is his undoing, and Junior, you called upon him, Nate. He has answered the phone. He's answered the bat signal. He steps up with a big one.
Finally didn't send me to voicemail. Finally picks up. Thank goodness that I was getting egoed there for a second, but no, he just wanted to make his entrance as dramatic as possible, and that is one way to do it. Dismantling 3 players, the heavy hitter in Snav, who's done very well on the entry, might I add. The player towards connector, Frankie, has been a menacing lurk, catching a lot of players off on rotation. He gets unseated with a very nice op shot from above top ticket, and then of course, was there a third?
Yeah,
that's the last 2. And then there was one more, I think it was at the start of the take. Oh, the player towards Firebox, of course.
Yeah,
just
it was the Firebox
through the box.
onto Dare.
That was the op diff right there. Taking down the opper, shutting down the star before he could even start shining. Very well done from him.
Which he hasn't all game. 2-8 for Dare right now. And yeah, he's T-side opping on Mirage. It's not great. I don't think we'll see Junior 2-8 to start the T-half. Dare looks off.
They've been countering well, though. It was an unenviable spot, to be fair.
Yes, but in general, he's missing shots that he normally connects, especially when it comes to the flicks. He's very good at landing the flicks. Junior taking his peek, goes for the first peek, lands his shot. Walco has Dare on a plate. wallbang attempt will not
Shane.
work as Shane's got a pair. That's a nice bit of work out middle to level this at 3 apiece.
And he was one of the other players that was kind of off to a slow start for timbermen. Now coming alive, a nice double entry in response to tie things up. He catches George lurking in towards middle, re-aggressing, and now the advantage swings back towards timbermen. 3 versus 2 as they split in towards the A site. Rush is still here. Normally he's stomping around the ramp. This time around he's far more hands off towards CT. Can he find anything? No is the answer. Droid swinging around the stairs, etc. finds the kill, excuse me. That leaves just Hexed, a recent addition, added just a couple days prior in the 1 versus 3. It appears he's going for it. He has the kit. He's found the first as well onto Shane. But Droid and Frankie have a menacing crossfire towards the ramp and towards CT. It seems like an unwinnable spot for him. At this point, he might try to find an op somewhere. No, he won't even be allowed that. Frankie probes for information, finds the kill, and brings timbermen within 2 of tying it up.
One thing we have not yet mentioned, though, is that last night this was a 16-6 map victory in favor of Timbermen, EG already having 6. So there is that. They've at least equalized last night's performance. So that means they can only get better. Well, not necessarily. They could just lose everything out, which would be kind of crazy. But let's say, because it's not impossible if they do lose everything out, they cannot have a worse scoreline than last night's effort. Frankie, though, 2 swift cranial cave-ins delivered onto Rush and Juniors. It's a forced buy from EG on everybody but Junior, who's saving for the op. And Frankie's about to get a third. Hex just creeps on in, and Frankie will eat all of these frags up towards Underpass. B-site open. Well, what part of the map really isn't open now for Timbermen, because there's only 2 EG players left. And George and Walco don't seem to have too much of an idea of facing right now.
I want to highlight as well, just what we have at the moment, because it's kind of a wash round, let's be honest. It was at 3-12 for EG on their CT side yesterday.
Whew.
Yeah, a difficult situation to be in, to say the least. So they're already off to a far better, far more recoverable start, but of course they always want more. This map, teams often call it kind of CT-sided. Not the case for EG, but still, having that 8 or 9 rounds in your pocket, leaving your CT side would definitely feel good.
I'm just looking at the EG stats right now. There's not one map where they have a better record on CT side than T side. Actually, no, there is one. Overpass. That's it.
Interesting.
Everything else is heavily skewed towards T. Ancient and Anubis make sense. But Vertigo, I mean Vertigo too.
Ooh.
But, okay. Nasty
one.
little shot from Walco.
Something, right? Something.
Yeah.
Be happy with that. Smop up in the underpass, though. Really does set the tone. Frankie. I was kind of curious about how this edition would work, and honestly, in the early goings, I wasn't too hot on it. I felt like they weren't really reaching new strides, but I think specifically with the change-ups that they've made, it really has begun to flourish. Talking about Droid kind of leaving that lurk role in this game specifically, Frankie kind of taking up that mantle. Both players seeming to be more at home. Frankie's top of the server for his team. Top of the entire server, in fact, at 13 kills. His influence on those lurks and those rotationary plays have been paying dividends. And they're what's really gotten Timbermen back into this matchup.
Yeah, Frankie was also a monster against Detonating, that must-win game that got them into playoffs. Especially on that last map of Vertigo, Frankie was a menace, and Frankie is going to continue his tear with another frag. Walking into the B stack all alone, and he has no fear. But he won't push all the way through. He'll retreat, recover the bomb, because they've discovered A is open, and there's no reason to throw a gun away. There's no reason to throw a life away as far as Timbermen are concerned. They'll tie things up as we end round number 12 at a 6-6 scoreline. I'm going to chalk this one up as a Timbermen victory. There should be no reasonable explanation for an EG round victory in this one. But moving into the next round is where things kind of become make or break for EG. They almost need to find a way to win, or else Timbermen have all the momentum going into the second half. And Timbermen, they're a solid Mirage CT-sided team. They do a good amount of work on that side, and they should have more than enough, especially with Dare in a more advantageous position to op. They should have enough to finish it off. They shouldn't have too much of a struggle once the sides swap, if they're able to close out this half with what I think would be, if it's a 9-6 scoreline, something like 8 rounds in a row.
Yeah, timbermen really kind of finding their footing, looking far better now than they did before. But again, I still want to see Dare wake up. He's still sitting at 2 kills. As long as he's not in the server, EG will have a chance to run away with it.
Droid?
Okay, yeah. He thought he got the kill 3 separate times. He did finally get it on the 3rd attempt.
Well, I guess he's not a robot.
Running those puns now. He's a droid, not a robot, okay?
What's the difference?
I think there's definitely a bit somewhere about that. It's in some sort of popular media. There's definitely a bit about androids versus robots.
Well,
I don't know where it is, though.
What about... I mean, but then you have, like, battle droids. They're not technically androids because they're not human. They're not human. Like, an android is supposed to be a human. Like a human robot.
That's fair. Aggression, though. A lack of utility means that EG has to take a more aggressive posture. Alt goes in mid playing anti-flash. He'll swing off that. No one's peeking, though. No one's home. Junior does have the op as well. That's important to note in this one. Snav. The solar underpass. It could be huge. It could be massive. Walker's watching for it. Or is he? He does turn around in time. Finds that. Support is here, but Shane finds the trade. Rush with the flames, though. Drops Frankie in response. It is EG emerging with the advantage. 4 versus 3, but they're still in the server, as is Shane and Droid. All 3 players had the chance to pop off. Junior as well with the op. Another uncharacteristic miss, this time from the CT side of the equation. Timbermen. What is the call? They have no real direction thus far. They've gotten mid control. They have someone holding apartments, but the bomb is still down over towards the bottom of T middle. They still don't have a clear direction in mind.
(4v3) advantage to EG in terms of manpower. Dare takes a flick, gets spammed through the smoke, tosses in an HE, and that does a massive amount onto Hext as Rush gets domed. Problems are rising now for EG Black as we're in the last few rounds of this half. About equivalent health, though, across the board, slightly favoring the Evil Geniuses. They do not have a kit, though, so that means that the bomb goes down, things get quite tough, and George on the wrong side of the map. Hex with a 2K as they jump out a window. All up to Shane, who gets caught jumping through. Give Hex the Hattie as EG grab a 7th, and that will push them more and more towards a half victory. Although for Timbermen, they've got more than enough money to reinvest. Walker with that big start helps out, and that flame kill from Rush sets EG up well. But without Hext and that 3-piece, it's a Timberman round. That
play from Hex, gotta break it down. It was masterful. He's playing on the van side of the window for the kill onto the player Cat. He then do-si-dos around the window, catches the player in the back as he falls, and then the third player is just a mop-up. That is a massive bit of micro play from him, and that's the multi-kill that seals the deal. Gets EG their second win, and from there, they have a serious chance to steal away the advantage going into the second half. It's 7-6. They have rifles across the board. They're looking to make it 8. From there, potentially even 9.
And that's where they can kick it into high gear, getting onto the T side where they love it the most. They are a T-sided team on this map. 56.4% win rate on their T side, and that includes a win over Nouns as well. They've already done better than their 16-6 loss against Timbermen in the Melbourne qualifiers last night. So already positives for the Evil Geniuses. I'm sure Axt is already happy, but I think he knows that it could be better, and I think he expects a 9-6 out of his lads. Hex blind, the B anchor has some help from Walko up on Cap, but he only goes 1 for 1. Rush has joined the party, coming in from a con spray. Hex has one, grabs the next through the smoke on the Shane. Dare is stuck, dropping onto site, caught by the op of Junior. Half victory for the Evil Geniuses as Hex is now being tested on B, and he is putting a Hex on Timbermen, saying that the B side is on lock. And now the Timbermen forced to buy up one more time, trying to stave off that 9-6 half. That second, though, from Hex, absolutely phenomenal again with the sound cue.
This is a test, and he's graduating summa cum laude because he definitely is passing with honors. That is miraculous. Again, another massive multi-kill on the B site to really seal the round in his team's favor. EG, very solid chance now to get a 9th as the buy from Timbermen is compromised. We're lacking a bit of utility on Dare and Shane. Shane's, in fact, lacking a rifle, lacking a primary weapon. He only has a deagle in hand. And that definitely hurts to see given his solid performance thus far in this map. Rush towards A. Will be the first one challenged. I like this boost from Dare, but can he get the spot? Can he get the opening kill that his team needs? They need him, the Opera, to wake up. And no, it's another miss. There's no excuse for that one.
No.
At all.
Is Dare on the wrong DPI or something? Because he does not miss those. George gets 2, but he cannot pick up the 3rd. Droid is low. That's still a good spot for EG to be in this 3v3 with the low HP Droid and an HE on Walk over the bomb going down. Makes this a little more winnable for Timbermen. Nade goes far. It's going to take Snap down about half, and Junior will take him all the way. Walk go around, though. Droid in con. 2v3 to Timbermen now as Frankie's holding on side. Nice headshot from Droid. This crossfire now becomes inimitable. It's so hard for EG to clear this and get the bomb defused in time. The lack of utility, the fact there's only one kit on a player currently, this puts them in a very tough spot. Smoke on the bomb. Frankie caught, still alive, catches Hex jumping around. Junior no option but to stick. Frankie shuts it down. We're not as close as you can get as we head into the halftime break.
Sounds good.
Good and bad for teams.
Yep. I like EG's aggression, but I think the big question to me is how they're going to do on their T side when they've lost their IGL.
Walker was IGL.
For a while?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that was a fast break as we're popping right back into it. EG now on the T side, their strongest side of pretty much every single map in their pool. I'm Boggs, joined by Pineapple Phillips. And Timbermen now, this is a map that they are masters on, their best map, their most played map. And now they have to find a way to win against the evil geniuses. The pistol round would be a great way to start by taking it and tying it up at all 8. But this mid-split, it could pay dividends for EG as they're running in. George Glock out, Hex clearing out the site. Bomb stuck on ramp, left all the way behind. Junior picked up by Frankie. In the meantime, disaster already for EG as they've had the site control, but they've taken too long to get the objective to the ground. A jump from Rush, he's barely alive, and Hex has a lot of work to do as he's waiting for a flash towards CT, which will not come because it does not exist in the Timberman belt.
3 players here, make that 4. Walco does cover his teammate for 1. Team kill from Droid, though, ties things back up. This round has gone awry. Bomb is to ground, but they still have plenty of time for the retake. Dare coming alive, drops Rush. Droid finds George, atoning for his prior transgressions, but they still need to find Walco. Walco dancing around, S3 has all 4. That is a massive one for him to clutch up. EG already looking right at home on the T side.
Bit of luck with Droid on the team kill, I have to say. That's something that you can't count on consistently. But Walco, great in the 1v2. Good poise there in the end. Finishes it off very nicely. Timberman, if they had a flashbang, Nate, if they only had a flash.
The old-fashioned way. The old-fashioned way. The human flash, jumping by.
Jumping by while turning behind, because backwards hitboxes are still broken.
Oh, 100%. You know what the funniest part is? Walco just domed him as he was jumping by nonetheless.
Yep.
That's the craziest part to me. Walco, a massive one. He was very consistent on being traded, finding one, and being done in the first half. This time around, though, he's finding lots of multi-kills, coming alive, and that bodes well for EG on this second half. Rush through the smoke, finds one. It's 2 players down. It is a save from Timberman, but they would hope for at least a kill. Shake the confidence of EG. Hexton middle might actually get run down. He is alone. There's a player walking up with P250. Hex, there we go. Taken down from the side. Droid will get a rifle for his troubles. Junior, though, trading on the player window. That's a dare. Taken down. There's at the pie scoreline, 3.14. Hate to highlight it, but
I don't think that's where he wants to be.
No, I don't think it's where anybody wants him to be, in fact. We're kind of setting this up to be the duel of the oppers, and one opper's kind of been silent. I will say, though, Droid and Frankie, with this latest swap up, look incredibly good.
Yeah.
16 for Droid. He's been entering. Frankie has been far more successful on the lurk as well. It's now at 17. It's been very good and very encouraging to see those two pick up the slack, because, as we talked about, it has been the Dare game, the Dare team for multiple seasons at this point. Someone else needs to step up.
Yeah, and Droid's always been a prospect in the NA region, too. Playing, like, Fragadelphia's consistently when he was a lot younger and always being solid. But this is kind of the skill we expected to see from him back then. There's Dare, too, on a pick on Rush. Now maybe he's starting to come alive here. His bonus, not even really a bonus round for EG. They have a couple players invested decently. And Dare's found the second on the Walco, creeping out of Palace. No kills to return. Finally, George with one onto Droid. Speaking of Droid. But yeah, he's looked a lot better since Frankie's been added. Overall, Timbermen look better in terms of mentality and in terms of how they're playing. And now that Dare can host up and shoot point-and-click adventure game this, he's starting to come alive as well. Still, 3v4, technically salvageable for EG, but I think it's more about doing damage at this point, getting a bomb down. Because winning this round outright is not going to be an easy task.
No, they're lacking a lot of utility as well. They have a smoke, flash, and Molotov between the 3 of them. It's a very different story for Timbermen, who have nearly full utility belts on a majority of the squad. This one's going to be potentially a contact play over towards B. They have one player in the back lines maybe holding a smoke that will be thrown eventually. There it goes, but Shane immediately responds to those in a Molotov of his own. Going straight into the meat grinder. Frankie goes catwalk, finds one, spots the second, gets the second as well, leaving just Junior, the AK in hand. Would rather the op, but this one he might even consider saving. A 1 versus 4. no utility to get out, and a full rotation coming through means that 15 seconds left, he'll have to try and survive.
He's going to be flanked by Snav, though. It's not going to be an easy save for Junior. 3, 2, 1. Start the 6 seconds of death time. And he will survive here. Just barely eking it out. Timbermen close the gap. EG at double digits, sure. Still a lot more work to do to close it out. They're going to buy up with 2 Galils. Rush should be on an AK. Junior, of course, on the AK he saved in the last round. Dare was a glass cannon last round, has armor behind the buy now. Galil in the hands of Frankie, the AK for Snav. And a little bit of mid control. George leading the charge all the way out mid, peeking around that smoke. Nobody in middle, though, to contest. Just one in con, one up cat. The op is aggressive through apps, taking a deep angle up here. Hex has to be very careful if he does peek, because Dare definitely pick him off from a pixel angle. More smokes being used middle, too. That's 3 out of the 5 smokes from EG already expended. And they've finally got a little bit of control down, but it's not a lot to build off of, and Timbermen are playing this really well by just fading into the night.
Yeah, Timbermen kind of just holding the sidelines, not going towards middle, playing more hands off with Frankie in towards the ladder, but getting control everywhere else, looking towards ramp. They had some presence that has kind of fallen off. They had the player in the apartments in Dare, who's now struck to find one, in addition to the other kill found earlier. So Timbermen have read this and played this incredibly well. All the utility spent by EG means next to nothing. Volko has a lot to do coming up the connector. He's kind of on an island, kind of alone. He's found one, but he needs more than that. At least a second, if not even more, but with Droid on the balcony, it's just not possible. He's caught from the side, leaving just Junior and Rush in the 2 versus 4. And they're walking into the stacked bomb site. Rush trades his teammate Junior, but he needs more than that. The bomb is down with 3 players remaining. It's truly not possible. It is Shane to find the trade, and EG's lead has been ripped away. At this point, it's just 1 round between these 2 teams.
1 round and no money for one of them. EG Bro coming into this is a really good ladder duel by Frankie. The rest of it was just a collapse by EG, not being able to clear the angles. Too many positions for Timbermen to be lurking in. It's going to be Glocks out for the Evil Geniuses, and a very good chance for Timbermen to build up a CT bank. That's something we never really got to see EG establish, was a strong economy on the defense. And that's something primed for Timbermen right now at a very critical point in the game, where Timbermen can run away with a half if they can get a few more rounds here. So this is where EG kind of need to get into the next round, because this round's not one they should be necessarily thinking of winning. It's just get the bomb down, get some damage, do something. It's not necessarily one you look to be winning, but you should be able to do some sort of damage, at least build a little bit of economy some way or another. But round number 21 is where this map really hits a pivot point.
Yep, it's where EG can either begin to reestablish something or really begin to run away with it. Dare waking up with the op, finds the first, Frankie a second, Frankie a third and a fourth, more than likely. Yep. At this point, I think I agree with you. You have to find something for the economy, but realistically, the best case is a bomb plant. And they're not even going to get that. They're not even going to get a kill, no less. Timbermen tie things up at 10 apiece. EG will have a chance to buy in this one, but they won't have the op for Junior, and they'll actually be lacking a little bit of utility as well. So Timbermen have a hefty advantage. The question is, can EG adapt to what this CT side has been doing thus far?
Well, EG are going to call a timeout here, talk things over, and I think that's well-timed. Axt can say his piece, EG can reset mentally, they can focus up and figure out what is going on. Their buy is far from ideal. 4 Galils into this round, while Timbermen have helmets on every single player. The good old-fashioned brain bucket. And Timbermen, this is also going to give them a little more chance to settle down, too. They're going to be, all right, things are working right now. The way we're playing is working. We're letting EG mull around in mid. They're getting stuck in the mire. And now we can collapse on them when they take the sites. We can go for the picks, yes, but don't stick your necks out too far. Don't get plucked from the bush. Strength is in numbers for the Timbermen, and EG have to find a way to mitigate that. They have to find a way to get advantages, man advantages, whether that's with utility peaks, whether that's with just raw gunfights. Probably not given the fact they have Galils, but also they have to find a way to deal with Droid and Frankie. Frankie's at 24 and 12. He's a 2.0 KD right now, 20 rounds into the game against EG Black.
He's been a menace over towards middle. Just hands off, passive. He's a top connector right now, / jungle. But he's been a menace. And again, it's Timberman going for the exact same play as before. This time around, Hext is ready for it. It's aggression in the periphery. A player pushing in the apartments, a player pressing through the palace as well. There's going to be a duel over there. Droid pressuring through, does find Rush, and Dare jumping up, trades out his teammate eventually towards the apartments. It looked good. It looked like EG finally had the read, finally had the call, but it's wrested away from them with a pair of kills in response. The 3 remaining players are going to go up the connector. Snab is already here. He has support from Dare as well. The op rotation from the CT side in Dare has been pitch perfect as well, might I add. And it makes things all the more difficult, all the more stupefying. EG just keep on walking into the crossfire, or the crosshair, excuse me, of Dare. Leaving just 2. And they both have Galils. It's George and Walco.
And what's the common denominator for EG's rounds, too, right now? It's a mid-play. It's a mid-peak. Dare's going to swing for the last 2. Although, I mean, he swings for the last one. The other one, the third, that was another player walking into his crosshair. There shouldn't be a player at this level that misses a shot like that with the op. The last one's nice. Yeah, he walks into the angle. But most of this is just Dare posting up and getting to play point-and-click adventure RPGs.
And
EG have to be better than that.
Yeah, they're just walking to the angle out of middle. Like,
yeah.
It's been middle,
they're
middle,
stuck
middle.
In mid. They go to mid, they walk into op, or they walk into angle, they die. Stop going middle.
And they know at this point there's been presses in the periphery. We've seen it in the apartments twice in a row. We saw it towards Palace in the round prior. EG hold their ground, play across the map, and go from there. With that said, it's pistols in this one. They're going to throw caution to the wind and go towards B. This could be the kind of swap up that catches Timberman out. But no. Timberman are ready for it. They have a quick rotation in response. It leaves just Junior in a 1v4. He'll find one in nearly a second, but it's not meant to be. No bomb plant, only 2 kills. Doesn't dent the CT economy too much either. Timberman looking to coast their way to a map 1 victory.
Yeah, that timeout paid no dividends at all for EG. Almost would like to see them use another one here, because they could definitely use one. The B pop, it's a good idea, but it's read well by Timberman. The rotations were there, and it was a little mistimed from EG. Very disjointed. Not quite as clean as it would need to be. Timberman very effective with their pops, because when one guy goes out, everybody follows. There's not a big of a spacing issue. Rush gets punished early by a peek from Dare, again pushing the peripheries as you've been harping on Nate. And this time it's Dare swapping over to the A side of things, and now look at him, running all the way to B. So he's popped up on one side of the map. Now he's going to go show his presence on the other side, or at least wait for somebody to peek into his crosshair. The bomb is stuck in Palace still, though. And it just seems that EG are lacking any bit of venom on this T side. It's a very dry, very one-note sort of a T side with not a lot of depth. And again, they're creeping out through mid, just walking into angles, again peeking jungle. Luckily for them, Dare's not there yet, but he's on his way. They have to hurry to the site because Timbermen have 4 players on their way. Flash is good, but not enough. Hext and Junior have to do it against 4. They've already found 1. 3 to go. Dare gets caught pushing out, but Hext falls to Frankie. Junior is tucking tail and running already. Somebody's gonna sprint back to B and catch him. Wait.
Double back.
He's gonna go back?
They might have hurt him as well.
I think they did. I think Dare hurt him.
Seems like it. Flash is over for his teammates.
Know now.
Yeah, definitely do. Nade comes through, doesn't do much. This one Junior might even consider saving. 15 seconds remaining. That would be the right call, but Timberman probably won't allow him to. He'll head for the hills as fast as possible. And he will save the op. No one is hunting in this direction. But still, Timberman looking so incredibly good on the CT side. And And it's very funny because EG are on the T side. When they get to work their T side, they do look quite good. The issue is timbermen are the ones doing the peeking, and timbermen are the ones finding the frags. It was Dare with the op jumping in towards Palace to open that round up over towards the periphery yet again. It's been across the map that timbermen are peeking into angles and finding kills onto the opposing team that should be the ones doing the peeking, doing the info plays. It's kind of turning this game on its head, and it's making it's sending EG for a loop.
And they've called another timeout, EG. And rightfully so. I mean, although I think it would have been better served last round where they had a bye. This is going to be a weird mix of a half in the op. Awkward position EG find themselves in.
Next round's not going to be a good bye either because Junior's going to be on a save. So there's no better time than the present.
You might as well just go all in here.
You get 4 timeouts per game, right?
Yep.
So they still got 2 more. They still got 2 more. It's okay. But I do agree. I think into that last round would have been far better.
Yeah, because after that first timeout, they still did the same thing they'd done the rounds prior that caused them to lose. So trying something different, trying to mix things up. Your mix-up play shouldn't just be reliant on the pistol round. They haven't tried the classic smokes A. I don't think they've actually thrown a full-on, even like 2 smokes towards A at once. They've thrown the top con smoker. Now they're going to pop in towards the A side. Droid with 1. George has Frankie as Droid goes down. Dare is picked up by Junior, and the A pop is working. They avoid mid. They win their fights. They drop on the rifles. And now they've cleaned it up with 4 alive. Guns to be picked up. EG, that is exactly the kind of play they needed to get back into this one. The money for Timberman, more than enough to reinvest. Dare, 1.5k short of max before he reinvests. But EG with a bit of confidence, a bit of a style pop towards A. That is a faster, more grouped up play that EG needs to counter the aggression, the raw firepower peaking of Timberman.
I want to highlight real quick. Rush has Kevlar. No helmet on the T side.
Huh.
All the M4s. Yeah, he has money. He has 3,700 in the bank.
Oversight.
I'm going to call it an oversight because he probably just brought the Kevlar in from the round prior, but
He did.
I'm hoping that it doesn't become a factor for his own sake. Good flash. Snap's not punished though. Walkout will force him out, but he'll live to fight another day. That's important. EG, don't go back to your stock standard. Perfect, they're not. They have players, sure, they're showing presence towards middle, feigning the default. George was top mid, Hex was underpass, but they're falling back. They're going to go for an A play, and thus far, it's not been read by Timberman. There's only one player here, it's Droid. He's on an island towards Sandwich. He will have some support from Dare, the op towards CT spawn, but if EG time their flashes right, they should be able to catch that player out of position.
They know Droid's in Sandwich too. They know he's here by virtue of the smoke. Junior with the kill. Hex has Frankie. Dare pushing onto the site. Only able to get 1 before Rush can trade. Shane and Snav on the way in. But Junior's holding the line. They're peeking the op. And it's not working out for him. It's kind of like what Dare was getting in the last few rounds. Now Junior's on the receiving end of it. Having players walk into his crosshair. Shane has called it quits. He's waved the white flag. He's retreated. EG 2 quick rounds off of some A set plays, but now they're gonna have to find a way to mix things up again because surely Timberman won't be caught sleeping a 3rd time in a row.
Surely not, but EG, if they can pull it off one more time, they might just break this CT economy. It looked so good for Timberman for so long, but Droid, Snav, and Frankie all below 2k at this point. Shane is only just above it. This saved rifle is a necessity at this point for Timberman, not a luxury. And this could be EG finding, I'm not going to say a second win because I think I already said that in the first half. This could be them finding their 3rd win, which doesn't happen too often.
Doesn't happen too often at all. EG have an AK down for Walco, trying to keep the money decent on everybody. Pistols for Snav and Frankie. Droid as well. Timbermen read into the economic situation they were in, they elect not to force up. And they're going to go for a half here. This is an incredibly economically savvy play from Timbermen. They realize that they're tied up, and if they went all in, they have EG pretty much on a lead. But they can give themselves still a chance to win with this kind of a buy, but they're not going to risk everything. They're not going to bet the farm on this round. This is a very mature decision from a Timbermen squad, which historically have been incredibly aggressive financially. And it's something I've noticed over the past couple of seasons where Timbermen have become more and more tempered in terms of their buy strategy. And to see them here on this kind of a plane with this kind of a buy bodes very well for their overall maturity. And I would say this is the right call. This is the only call to make in the situation. And, of course, they still have Dare on the op. They have Shane on the rifle. The Deagles can be very deadly. Frankie has been cracked, so you might as well give him a shot with the hand cannon. And look at that! Junior gone, removed by Snav. Shane's found hexed, and this is where this kind of a buy can still pose a threat to a T-sided team. EG down by 2 men, dealing nothing in return, as Walco falls to Shane as well. It's up to 2, it's George and Rush, and what can they do in this kind of a play? They're collapsed upon by Timbermen. 3 CT, 1 through Con, a late flank from Droid, a peek from Rush, and he is gone. George manages a plant, but he does not live long. Timbermen, they keep it flawless. They keep it clean. Could even go for a double op if they so please. All the world at their feet. Mirage, it's their oyster.
They're looking so good for Timbermen. And they lost the half buy before. Keep in mind that Palace pop from EG paying dividends, and now it's their turn to win a half buy. The 2 rifles surrounded by pistols does find tremendous success. Timbermen, penultimate map point on map number 1. It is their map pick, keep that in mind, but again, showing us more than enough, I would say. Dare has come alive with the op. We said he was at a very slow start over on the T side. Not the case here on the CT side. He's been very nomadic, very well read in his positionings, and he doesn't really have to do much flashy with the op to find success. Again, aggressive and poignant towards the underpass. He'll miss that shot. An uncharacteristic miss at that, but he'll still stick around, and he will not miss twice. He finds Hext eventually, and Timbermen, this aggressive posturing on their CT side has done a lot for them. It gives them confidence. It also gives them, honestly, openings more often than not. EG, they'll try to come back into it. They get a pair of kills in response. Snav and Frankie are taken down, and this pair of players towards underpass is now kind of stuck in a very difficult spot to get out of. They will eventually do so. The issue is, it's now a 3 versus 4 retake for Timbermen on towards B, and with Walco and Ladder, this is a very, very difficult retake to attempt.
It should just be a save, and it's going to be a save from Timbermen. There's no reason to throw these guns away, and there's no real chance they win the round on the retake. So you save your op, you save the utility, you save these rifles, and you try and get into it again. EG with a critical round win late in the game, keeping it within 1. They've exceeded double the round count on this map from last night. They still have to do a lot to close this out. Timbermen still with the advantage here as we near the 30-round mark on map 1 of this playoff series between Timbermen and Evil Geniuses Black. Timbermen with a buy up again. They have not used their timeout, surprisingly. They have 4 available. Now used 1. EG have used 2. Just to keep pace with the Timbermen.
Timbermen really haven't seemed lost, though.
No, they haven't.
They've lost a couple rounds to individual plays from EG and some lucky plays like the burst plays, etc. But it does feel like Timbermen have been in the driver's seat. And they just stumbled here and there, but they've stuck to their game plan, had a clear strategy in mind, and they've been executing it quite well across the board.
It could be used to slow the momentum of EG, though. That's one thing I like about timeouts, that you just kind of put the brakes on everything and go in fresh, especially if a team's playing hot. You can make them pump the brakes a bit and cool off. But EG working through underpass with an A split on the cards. The peaks need to be well timed though. It's kind of something they ran into trouble with on these mid plays, was mistiming the peaks across both sides of the map. Window is completely abandoned though. Timbermen, not a single soul nearby. And Walco's able to just get a lot of ground and information. Hex clearing into connector will get forced away by the Molotov, but I don't believe he's been hurt. Droid, however, with a dry fight onto Rush. That's a big pick. And that can change the whole scope of the round if there's no quick frag back from EG. Dare around the smoke, playing with fire, realizes that backs away.
We're going to menace towards the balcony. Finding kills more often than not. Finding a second and Snav a third. This triple stack towards A has paid off. It left a worrying chink in the armor over towards the window, as we talked about. But it seems to have paid off here. 3 versus 2. 2 versus 2. Did George just find a triple entry in response? Has he found a way back into it? He sticks the plant as well, and Junior's still kicking with the op, no less. There's no way they pull this back from the brink.
And look at the plant, too. It's a perfect plant for George. Junior spotted the arms of Dare. It's up to Shane. And George might have just pulled off the hero play. Junior's around. He's got the shot. It's George and Junior. And they pull it back from nothing. They make a mountain out of a molehill. That was nothing for Timberman to deal with. That should have been an easy wash. And then George walks out. 1, 2, 3. Bomb down. 4 seconds on the clock. And Junior finds the last 2. Nice little bit of movement around the default boxes for Junior, but it's George with those entries that gives EG the leg to stand on. Money in a dire strait for Timberman. Round 29. If they lose this, they are broke. If they win, they have map point, but EG will still be able to scrounge together a solid buy. In fact, it should be a full buy given what they have left over. A bomb buy would make it even stronger. Hex, the only one lacking in terms of funds. Walco, the one down bottom middle. But Evil, Geniuses, Black, a massive round to pull away. And a bit of redemption for the one they lost to the half by just a little bit ago. Those rounds aren't replicable. They need more steady, more secure victories. Or this one might just be going for the long haul.
It's a big one for EG. They win this, they should take the series as well in regulation. They're playing slow. They know the magnitude that this round weighs upon the server. Less than a minute left. They are beginning to slowly congregate and aggregate towards B. There are 2 players here. This aggressive play from Timberman could be an issue. Frankie on top of the balcony. He's been a monster, as we talked about, for Timberman. He's at 28. Will he be clear? That's the question. Yes, Hex finds the entry. A good one to find, but lots of damage taken. George finds a second. Snav entering in. Will find one in response, but the flames send him away. He's lucky to be alive. The lurking window of Walco, though, is so good. So well timed. He'll find one before being traded. And in the 2 versus 3, do Droid and Snav think they have a chance in the retake? It doesn't seem like it. They're both heading for the hills. They know that they need to save these rifles for the following. And because of that extra bit of weight on their shoulders, they will give EG Black the 15th round.
A massive 15th for EG, stealing away a lead at the last possible second. We will see a full 30-round map at the very least, but EG have put themselves in pole position to rob the Timbermen blind and take this one. The map pick of the Timbermen. The one map last night, Timbermen were able to win. The pretty abysmal record on Overpass that is our second map. Does not bode well for Timbermen now. Map point Evil Geniuses. They have the buy, they have the advantage, and Timbermen will scrounge something. It's that pick onto Frankie, and then the second that just really solidifies things. That extra from Walco just makes so much more damage to the economy of the Timbermen. Forces Shane onto an MP9. Double FAMASas, only 1 kit. Utility's not bad. There needs to be some kills for Timbermen as well. Boost up, Junior peeking down. Nobody crosses into him. Safe play from the CT side.
Look at the kill disparity as well on the server. I have to say, 28 kills for Frankie. The next closest on T side is 19 for Junior. It's a crazy difference. Junior catches someone getting a little bit too big for their britches. Snav trying to pressure in from the lower balcony area is caught. That is a big pick given away. I feel like Timberman more often than not, are the ones emerging with advantages. Droid, now it's his turn to crack at bat. He will win it, though. He will trade out eventually with a kill onto George. George is caught looking back to even footing, but the 4 versus 4 does favor the T's. EG, they are not keen on letting this play. Good flash for Droid, but the sloppy spray does him in. Hex, while blind, takes him down. And EG, again, taking away the advantage once more.
Smoke into snipers. Frankie peeks before it blooms, but backs away. Shane up in middle could get caught. Sprays away, but he has to run for the hills. Tosses a flashbang in, but Walco dodges, spots the head. Knows they're pushing up, but he's going to still pick off Frankie before he goes down. 3v2, still the advantage favors Evil Geniuses. Dare at Ticket Booth has it all to do. He's cleared out by Rush. Tries to dodge the next flash, misses the shot. Rush runs him down. It's up to Shane. He's in CT spawn with that AK 1v3 to keep his team alive on map 1. Headshot delivered, but he takes a lot of damage. Junior to the AK. Hexed is low. He's hiding. He's up in Palace. They know where Shane's coming from. He's making no bones about his noise. Smoke onto the site to cross through. Hex confidence for the play off of Junior's contact. Surely it's Junior through the smoke, and EG Black have taken map number 1 in the dying embers. At the last possible second, they pull ahead of Timbermen.